Not as beautiful as the Anguithan ruins near my home, but your fortress is impressive in its own little way.
At once.
Uh-huh. Effigy's eyes, that man loved to talk. Yeah. You want to hear me say yes, don't you? You'd have me go on about how I thought long and hard on my crimes, how I'd spend my own essence if it would quicken the men and women I killed. If it's sane and logical reasoning you're wanting, you're going to be disappointed. Ain't no sense in any of it. Mayhap you've heard of Caed Nua. Was a quiet, forgettable patch of the woods, till a pack of rabid clodhoppers set it afire. A farmer on the other side of the mountains woke up one day with his head all aflame and took it for the gibbering speech of his god. And so did a few thousand of his countrymen. So when he tired of Vorless fields and marched west, a horde of armed hicks followed. Bunch of fool nonsense is what I'm talking about. But others have called it the same. If you know that much, then you've heard of Cold Morn. Ours was the village that let a few thousand of Widewind's troops pass through. Maybe not. But the Raid Sarens had us clean beat in numbers. Even bumpkins like us figured that. Just look at Mercy Vale. They fought back. And now there ain't one stone standing atop another in the whole village. Besides, we asked the Duke for help. Told him Widewind's troops was coming through the mountains. Seems he had better uses for his soldiers. So we let Widewind's soldiers pass. Left him for the Duke to wrangle on his own terms. Was after the Godhammer made a fine grid out of Widewind, when Deerwoodens were running on rage and looking for something to burn. They came at dark, hundreds of folk. Every one of them mourning someone lost in the war. Must have decided it was our duty to escort their dead back to the wheel. They didn't light their torches till they had us surrounded. Time we saw them, there was a ring of fire closing around us. I woke, ran to the window. Whole village were a maze of flames. Couldn't see nothing for the smoke. And the screams. Most ran for the streets, got caught by the mob. Others hid, let their houses burn down around them. Ran, fought, hid, burned. Same as my neighbors and family. Just luckier. You're the only person in the Deerwood who thinks so. Me, I'm surprised the Duke didn't make our massacre a festival day. Hunting down the men and women what took part. Thought that much was clear. Sure. You want me to tell you straight? I found the men and women what destroyed my village, and I burned their houses down around them. Sometimes they was alone, and sometimes they wasn't. Well, we just gotta do our best with what time the gods give us, don't we? It were a mob that destroyed our village, but it was just one man that burned my family's house. Kept hoping I'd get to him as I was working my way through the rest of those maggots. No matter now, I suppose. Only kind to have with someone like him. Or me. No other way to feel about the man who flayed my living soul. Around about 13 years. Too long, you ask me. He'd spread butter on bread and claim he made something. Never been accused of modesty, that man. He managed to stuff my soul into this heap of bronze, true enough. Maybe that makes him a genius. Also makes him a son of a bitch. Every day, he just kept putting it off. It's not like either of us was going anywhere. Looked after his tools, cleaned the workshop, swung the sledgehammer. Oh, and snatched up travelers for his soul tinkering. But don't you worry. They were all bad folk. Just so you know, you got a real professional working for you. Yeah, I've had enough of him too. Stalwart's great this time of year. Beareth spells in bloom for a good 5 days, and the mountain squall actually blows the fish stench away from town. Better than staying at Galvino's, anyway. I got a reputation. People in these little villages ain't the most open-minded. Not yet. Believe what you want. I killed a lot of folk, but none of them was in Stalwart. Plenty, but nothing you need to know. Just 'cause I'm made of metal don't mean I got any special fondness for smiths and forges. No more than what Galvino already told you. For fancy dwarven poetry? None of them ever struck me as especially literate. So whichever you can stand to get close to. And that's on you. I lost my sense of smell 13 years ago. Nothing specific. Everyone looks about the same when they got their fingers up their noses. Only the last group, one before you, there was something different about them. Couldn't put my finger on it, but they was dangerous. Almost felt the hair on the back of my neck. Ain't felt that way about anyone else walking through Galvino's door, that's for sure. Murder, tracking, and the best materials for kindling. Those are more my area of expertise. There weren't much to say about it. By my reckoning, that means it was pretty good. Ma was a trapper, taught me to set snares and dress game. Dad was a tinker. I never had his patience, but it were fun to watch him work. My brothers and sister, they was good folk too. Part of me's glad they ain't here to see me now.
I'd be glad to.
Oh, look at here.
And what does the flame reveal?
You gotta see
Margaret's
this.
fire casts light in dark places.
Village was a touch livelier when I saw it last. Ain't saying much, though. Bitter cold and a persistent odor of fish. And that were just the people. Anything's better than Galvino's workshop. You ain't heard the old buzzard sing. Anyway, what about you? We seen lots coming through, trying to crack the battery, but no watchers. Ah, looking for someone. That's a familiar yarn. But don't let me keep you from the sights and sounds of Stalwart. They're easy to miss.
Welcome. What can we do for you?
She's looking at you the way attractive female lions look at me.
Didn't think there was anything more than lice and hoarfrost to these folk, but you had a look back there. What do you find when you're rooting around like that? Yeah? And I'll bet you could do the same to anyone in this village. Easy as looking at 'em. Mayhap I'm looking for someone. Woodcutter by the name of Harmka. It sure does. He was one of them. The mob that destroyed Cold Morn. I tracked him to Stalwart years ago, but got caught before I could finish my business. Oh, don't go all soft on me. He's had it coming. This man, Harmka, I saw him outside my house the night it burned, staring into the flames the way I seen you stare into souls. I knew it were a fool's errand trying to hunt down every man and woman that carried a torch into Cold Morn, but if I knew I got the one responsible for my kin and my hearth, I might could rest easy. I took a good long look that night. Ours was a little place with a yellow door right on the edge of town. He was there. Besides, I asked around when I first got to Stalwart. Townsfolk said that all the woodcutters in town took part in the purge. Point of pride for them. I told you he was part of the mob. I spotted him watching my house when it burned. But when we find him, I want to know if he's the one responsible for my home, my parents, and my brothers and sister. I never thought I'd have the chance to know for sure, but you could look into his soul and find out. You being a watcher and all. Mighty fine of you. Mighty fine indeed. Don't know where he dallies these days, but someone in Stalwart could tell us. People from little villages, they always know.
Welcome. What can we do for you? Coming to your elders for advice, is it? What can I do for you? Sure, I know Harmka. He'll be out with his men at the logging stand, just north of the road if you head out west.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Harmka? Oh, right. The guy the devil wanted to...
anyone ever tell you that you have the best accent?
What? No, I mean, some have. Men. Foolish praise in any case. It's just an ordinary Valian accent.
Come on, say it one more time. Please?
Shoderi. Donderi. Vecente kumane nishomenet.
I hope you've had some luck, and do take care with that device. It has a few rather delicate components. What? So it works? What a day! But why these gems? I didn't think the device would be able to pick up inert Audra. Fascinating. I have to study this further, but all the same, it worked! At last, a breakthrough! With that Audra to work from, I can refine the enchantments. We'll be digging up iron, gold, Audra, all of it. This is going to change everything. Oh, and I won't leave you empty-handed, of course. Here, I had this set aside for supplies, but I don't think I'll be staying in Stalwart much longer. I won't forget all you've done for me. They'll hear about this back home, I promise you. Who knows? Perhaps they'll name the next battery after you.
What are you doing here?
Been running it 4 decades now. Reckon I can tell you what you want to know. Arda was a saint. Lived to look after the village, she did. Fell through a weak spot in the lake ice. You'll pardon me, but it's not something I much care to dwell on. Need anything else? I'm sorry.
You look like you've been in the wilds. You see my wagon out there? Shh! Keep it down, will you? Look, you seem forthright, but I couldn't just announce my business, could I? Even you've got to understand that. I'm just trying to get out of town before some ogre or fishman or starving snow-addled hunter sticks a blade in my gut. More important, I gotta make good on my deal with the supplier. Ain't someone I'm eager to disappoint. Here, as promised. Thanks again. With a little luck, I'll trade these blizzards in for a sea breeze soon enough.
Back to warm your hands, eh? What can I do for you? You all right? I won't serve you if you're already drunk, you know.
Something I can do for you? Halfrick's got me straightening the rooms, but I'll help you if I can.
Pay attention. Sooner we get this done, sooner we can go.
We're hurrying, Captain Gregor. Honest.
Ma'am? Excuse me, ma'am? You all right?
Pallegina, I've kneecapped people who are nicer to me than these brothers of yours.
There's no point to staying mad at them. Besides, I serve the dukes. They appreciate me, even if the brothers don't.
Any merc company would execute half its foot soldiers to have you.
Well, if the dukes ever tire of my service, at least I know I have options.
I take it you've met Galvino.
How much did the old snake pay you, Renegild?
Maestro Galvino and I came to an agreement. It was for the good of Stalwart. I thought...
You thought you'd let a killer walk among us?
Let's go.
Enough.
What's on your mind?
Something else you need?
Got to speak up? My hearing ain't what it was.
Sinove, please. If we go now, we can get behind the barricade. We won't do any good here.
We're gonna go down fighting. Anyone who feels differently can settle it with me right now. That name. It carries memories of death, war, fury, the taste of blood. What do you want with it? What trickery is this, stranger? You think a Pargrin would so easily betray her own people? Lies! You'd empty our halls if Coinmaster Zoltan threw our doors any wider! Arms Warden Maroon warned us about the greed of outsiders. You'll stay out of Durgan's battery while I'm... Then let us share the words of our bond, sister. Did I nod off? My, but I had the strangest dream. So much work to be done. Pardon me, but I'd better check on those miners. At the rate they're going, it'll be another year before they clear that blazing shaft.
It ever occur to you that maybe those dukes sent you here to screw things up?
It takes a paranoid mind to dream up a scenario where that makes any sense.
Hate to piss on your daisies, but them dukes will sell you out when it suits them.
My life is theirs. I don't question how it will end, so long as it ends in service to the Republics.
Back to warm your hands, eh? What can I do for you? Nothing like a pint to take the chill off.
It's past midnight. Go! To raid Ceres, or Defiance Bay, or fucking Air Glonfoth, I don't care! I'll tell them. Mayor Renegild, the neighbors, everyone.
About what?
The stealing. You think I haven't noticed the money missing from the fishery coffers? Or heard Taena talk about losing a golden duke? You can't be found when there's work to do, but every time those merchant wagons roll into town, you've got coin enough for a few bags of ripple sponge.
No, it's not.
Stalwart tolerates your sponge habit, but they won't abide your thieving.
You won't.
I will.
You take shelter in our village and then ransack it like a common thief? You'd better explain yourself! What's that supposed to mean?
Worth coming back for this alone.
It was an accident. I was a failure and a wretch then. But I never would have killed anyone. Least of all my own kin. I gave her body to the lake. But I kept her bracelet. To remember the cost of my own weakness. I ain't asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve any. My penance is my work on behalf of the village. And they need it, truly. You've seen the shape this place is in. Have mercy on Stalwart, if not on me. Let me do the work Arda would have done. That's my debt to Stalwart, and the only fitting way to honor my sister. Thank you. Stalwart may not know what you've done for them tonight, but they'll hear of your honor.
Thought you Glunfathens was all fanatical and shit.
I am fanatical. I'm just suppressing it so I don't have to kill all my friends.
So it don't chafe you none that our mutual friend here's been prancing through your sacred ruins?
How goes? Auroch's shadow! What's that wicked thing doing here? It's a killer! Look, we don't want no trouble. Just trying to do our work. We'd be much obliged if you'd leave us be. And take that thing with you. Just a woodcutter. Ask anyone in Stalwart. They'll tell you. Everyone does. Let the Raid Sarens into the Deerwood. What's that got to do with anything? What did you say?
Right here.
Need something? What?
Tell me.
I'm ready.
I'm here.
Something.
Uh-huh.
No FX.
Taena!
Together!
Almost 15 years I've been looking for him. All that fretting and wondering, and the deed's over in less time than it takes to tell. I killed a lot of folk in my time. Felt their blood slick in my hands, smelled their flesh as it burned. And I always used to imagine what it would be like to have Harmka under my knife, feeling his breath come hot and fast, smelling the fear ooze out of him. Couldn't feel a thing. His fading pulse weren't no more than a patter of rain to me. This body, it weren't made for feeling. Gouging my fingers into Harmka's wasting flesh, his screams just buzzing in my skull. All it did was remind me that this is a madman's fever dream. Like a prison, but no, 'cause in a prison, you lay your head down and you feel the straw soft beneath you. Your flesh prickling in the cold, black bread crumbling on your tongue. I still dream I'm folk. I wake up some mornings wondering why I can't feel the floor beneath me, thinking I must have fallen and gone crippled. But then I lift my head, see a bronze corpse stretching out in front of me. It's not pity I want, it's a choice. I dreamed too of what Galvino did that night. Those moments. I'd endure another cold morn if it'd spare me this fate. It was after I got caught in Stalwart. They'd locked me in a little house by the inn, the old mayor and his cronies. When a crowd of them came for me in the dark of night, I was only surprised it had taken them so long. Only they didn't march me to no gallows. No, they snuck me to another house on the edge of town, real sneaky-like. That's where I met Galvino. True enough, this was before the locals gave him the boot. Still weren't a popular fellow, though. He was fiddling with some machinery in his workshop. Had his sleeves rolled up, even though it was cold enough to see your breath. Never actually looked at me until he started fitting some copper helmet over my head. By that time, the mayor's goons had me trussed up good and tight. Galvino was having himself a grand time barking orders at that lot. He'd agreed to hand me over to Galvino for an experiment. Claimed it was a fair punishment, but the townfolk weren't too pleased at being denied their stone pitching. Didn't help that they heard the jangle of copper in that deal. In the end, that's what sent Galvino and the old mayor packing. So while Galvino's fastening that helmet over my head and them copper bands around my arms, I'm starting to look at his contraption. And that's when I see it. It's this metal suit strapped into the machine just like me. A cold, dead-eyed thing, all done up with fancy carvings and such. I had this terrible cold feeling in my gut, but I still couldn't figure. I start asking Galvino and the rest of them what's going on, but they're too busy to answer. Then suddenly, they're waiting, staring at me with that fixed, horrified look, but they ain't watching me. They're watching for something to happen. Galvino tells the woman nearest the machine to flip the handle. And then, just pain. Being torn apart every which way, feeling my soul peeled from my body. By the time I came to, I couldn't feel a thing. Just this dull, distant sort of ache. I think that was when I knew. I reckon I'm the wrong person for that sort of question. But if it cools your conscience, Galvino didn't get off easy. The rest of Stalwart didn't take kindly to having a killer in their midst, nor to seeing their mayor and the ornery Valians strike a secret deal. They drove Galvino out, destroyed a fortune in machinery, and wrote a letter to the Academy in Salona, ruining what was left of his name. Still, he's lucky he didn't get a pelting. The old mayor fled too, and Stalwart's been as snug and cheery as ever. You're better company than Galvino. Been a while since I were out in the world. Guess I'm keen on seeing more of it, even if I'm stuck with a bleeding heart. Anyways, I've been wondering about that fortress. Near everyone thinks it'll have just the thing they need. Those villagers wanted to fix up their brook downtown. Galvino always thought it carried some great secret of animancin', and all them adventurers came looking for fancy gear. I don't know. Something to help me feel, or forget. Effigy's eyes, maybe just something new. I just figured, with those dwarves being expert smiths and all, maybe they had something to unmake me, put me back into my body. You really think so, huh? Well, ain't like you to blast hot air.
I'd be glad to.
Not as beautiful as the Anguithan ruins near my home, but your fortress is impressive in its own little way.
Well met, friend.
Last thing the Deerwood needs is another foreign colony.
Hail, traveler.
Yes?
Uh-huh.
Certainly.
Not as beautiful as the Anguithan ruins near my home, but your fortress is impressive in its own little way.